my name is Natasha. I chose the Phonetics and Phonology of English Loanwords in both Korean and Chinese as my topic. So first, what are loanwords and how do they happen? So loanwords occur when a word is adopted into another language without translation. Some example loanwords are ballet, cafe, genre from French, kindergarten from German, and patio, plaza, and tortilla from Spanish. The difference between loanwords and calques, which are loan translations, are that calques are when terms are translated part by part and then introduced into the language. Some example calques in English are superconductor from Dutch, point of view from French, scapegoat from Hebrew, and rainforest from German. An example calque in Korean is 사회적 거리두기, which is social distancing, and this translated each linguistic unit separately. So social was translated to 사회적, and then distancing was translated in three parts: 거리, which is distance, 두다, which is put or placed, and the 기, which is the verb normalizer. The use of calques is actually more common than the use of loanwords in China, so some of the loanwords that I use are not really commonly used in China. For example, the number of entries for calques in English in Wikipedia are 5 for Korean, while there are 234 for Mandarin Chinese. So the phonetic differences in the languages account for the differences in pronunciation when loanwords are introduced in the different languages. This is the English phonemic inventory with 24 consonants and 10 or 12 vowels depending on whether or not you count the rhotic vowels as vowels in the English language. The Korean phonemic inventory has 20 consonants and 8 vowels. And the Chinese phonemic inventory has 22 consonants and 13 vowels. So the language rules or limitations are that these consonant phonemes are exclusive to English. The B, D, theta, F, ch, j, r, v, z. The F exists in both English and Chinese, but does not exist in Korean, and the Sh is a phoneme in English, but an allophone in Korean. So English and Chinese have vowel diphthongs, while Korean does not, and Korean also has triphthongs. So the diphthongs in English will be separated into individual vowel sounds in Korean, since diphthongs do not exist in Korean in this way. So ao becomes a, u, a becomes a, e, I, a becomes a, e, o is o, u, and so on. Consonant changes will occur to the nearest occurring phoneme in the target language. So labials will take the labial in the target language, which since B and V don't exist in Korean, they will be transferred to P. The voiced sounds typically get the unaspirated versions, and the voiceless get the aspirated versions. And in terms of the liquids, the R goes to an L. And then in terms of syllabic differences, English allows many more syllabic structures with up to 3 consonants in the onset and the coda, while Korean allows much less structures, specifically these 8. There are no consonant clusters or vowel diphthongs, and only 7 consonants are allowed in the coda. Chinese allows less structures as well, with an optional coda, and only allows these 3 phonemes in the coda. So now to take a look at some loanwords and the different ways that they are adjusted for the target language. So first is consonant clusters. In Korean, you can't have consonant clusters, so the U vowel gets inserted between the two consonants to make a new syllable, as seen here in blog and brownie. The word initial consonant cluster is broken up into two syllables in the Korean. And then also with coda neutralization, the is added to prevent that from happening in these syllables. Specifically after the S in the first, third, and fourth word here, to make sure that they don't end up sounding like T's. With vowel diphthongs, specifically found a lot of words with the A diphthong getting changed to the A, E in separate syllables. So you see that here in bagel, radar, bacon, champagne, all have the A, E split into two syllables. And then there's also resyllabification because of the syllable constraints on the language. So you can see here the first word in English is 2 syllables, while in Korean it is 4. The second word is 2 syllables in English and 3 syllables in Korean. Here we have an example of the adjustment on the consonants. These words all have the English phoneme F, which gets changed into an aspirated P in the Korean words. And finally, we have some orthographic vowel replacements. So here I just noticed that the vowels chosen for the Korean words match closer to the spelling of the English words rather than the pronunciation.